Hello, and thanks for joining us for this session on service-oriented operations. My name is Jeff Boozer, and I'm Director of Market Development for Utility and Municipal Broadband at ETI Software. And here we are doing another virtual conference session. It would be much better if we were in person. These are much more fun that way, but we look forward to it. Today, we are going to talk about the transformation of broadband as the fourth utility, an essential service necessary for daily life, and how that changes the broadband operations paradigm. We will look at what has driven the change, what makes the service different, and how it changes the business. We will explore how implementing a service-oriented approach to network operations better aligns with customer expectations. But first, let's take a couple of minutes to recap what has caused this transformation. Most of us have lived this history, but we may not have stopped or had the time to recognize what was happening to us. As we began 2020, it was all about 5G. 5G is more than just next generation wireless. 5G is all about network convergence and devices. Precision agriculture is a great 5G use case. The average commercial farm today has more than 2,000 connected devices, mostly connected to a private wireless, often LTE network, connected to a fiber gateway or internet. Sensors send data to applications in the cloud, which analyze crop conditions. Results are provided to applications built with AI that tell the irrigation system how much water and fertilizer to apply to the crops and schedules the application. Oil exploration uses similar capabilities to monitor drilling activities and manage wells, as well as mobile assets. There are 30 billion IoT devices in use today, 40% of those in use by industry. The average household has reached 50 connected devices. Projections of growth for IoT by 2025 are through the roof. 73% of adults use home broadband every day. Average household data usage has more than doubled each year for the past 4 years. And we all know that Netflix streams are the largest user of bandwidth for the internet today. All of this new technology is coming at us at the same time and is rocking the broadband world. This technology is a seismic shift in broadband use. Industry 4.0 is the primary driver of 5G deployment. Current public policy considers 5G deployment an economic and national security priority. Hence, government is putting a lot of funding and loan opportunities toward broadband, and they tend to favor utility business models at this point in time. The digital economy represents a significant portion of economic growth. It has a big impact on rural communities. Teleservices are a way to provide critical healthcare and education services equal to those available in urban areas. This is especially, again, important in our rural communities. And smart infrastructure is the key to sustainability and using scarce resources more efficiently, as well as dealing with congestion and things like that on our roads. All of these use cases depend on broadband. And then COVID came along, and we know how this story ends. Data usage increased 47% in the first 30 days. Telehealth visits topped 200 million through September. 37.6 million students in the US are attending classes virtually. 9 million of those students don't have internet in their homes. The average American is streaming content 8 hours a day, and 66% of US employees are working from home at least part-time, or maybe they're streaming content. COVID has highlighted the requirement for ubiquitous high-speed broadband. We're all believers now. Broadband is essential. It is embedded in our daily life, just like electricity. Having recently been through a major hurricane where I live, I can witness the struggle of doing normal things without a broadband connection. I can't tell you how tired I was sitting on hold, waiting to talk to a customer service agent while listening to a recording telling me how easy it would be to use the website. If only I could. Two things stand out through all of this. It's all about devices now. And when broadband goes out, things come to a halt. So yes, broadband is an essential part of our daily lives. So how does this change the broadband business model and broadband operations? Well, let's look at it through this new lens as an essential service. First, there are some strategic considerations that change how we look at the network. In addition to meeting our individual service needs, it must adapt to accommodate the needs of enterprises as well as society as a group. Without it, enterprises are less efficient and competitive, and they don't have access to critical markets for their goods and services. Without it, many people are left unable to access adequate healthcare or educational opportunities. And without it, many people are cut off from social or cultural experiences as well. The network must allow human and machine communications to coexist without conflict. Things like latency, dedicated bandwidth, dynamic bandwidth, minimum speed, and other service parameters are now critical to different use cases. The broadband network must adapt to different technologies as appropriate for different applications. Fixed wireless and low density areas, private LTE for enterprise, small cell wireless for buildings and campuses, CBRS for industry, they all must coexist on the network and work together. From a network architecture and design point of view, new services will drive a transformation in the network. There is no way traditional siloed network infrastructure can handle growth of millions of new devices. They must evolve to a software-defined network that can incorporate existing hardware capability. Hardware vendors must embrace common standards to allow integration to software-defined network. And they must be device aware. eSIMs are rapidly emerging in this space, along with other hardware communication standards that have existed already. But what does being an essential service mean? The best answer I've heard is uninterrupted service with a great customer experience. In an essential service world, it's critical that you know before the customer knows that there is a service impacting issue. Broadband operators face a transformation of operations to meet this objective. This is the objective of service-oriented operations. The fundamental change to operations is that real-time service data must be available at the start of customer interactions. An agent must know service status when they answer a customer call. Service performance data and status are as important as outstanding balance on the last bill and the last time they called about a problem. The lines between customer care and technical support must be eliminated. The customer doesn't recognize the difference. Processes and workflow that are designed with a customer in approach versus network out enables the agent to quickly get to the issue the customer is calling about. It is no longer acceptable to ask the customer to follow along while the agent checks off a resolution script that starts with a power cycle of the router. Device history and status should be presented to the agent with the customer account. If a cycle is appropriate, the agent should be able to initiate that remotely. Operational objectives and priorities will evolve in the essential service environment. Network and operations infrastructure must be evaluated to determine if it is capable of supporting new operational priorities for an essential service. Targets that rise to the top are usually reliability and proactive response. Reliability includes maintaining QoS policies, quality of service, and network security, as well as making sure service isn't interrupted. Proactive response includes anticipating and resolving issues before they impact service and launching new services quickly. As operators plan for transformation of their broadband operations to an essential service environment, there are some key principles that should drive decisions. The transformed operation should enable mixed network technologies and virtual network capabilities that will be required for the new digital services. The operation must be open and programmable, based on industry standards and with easily accessible data. Operations must allow flexibility in commercial relationships and enable leveraging exposed network capabilities and bundling of vertical applications to provide added value solutions, especially to government and enterprise scenarios. So what does the Broadband Operations Center look like going forward? First of all, as we discussed earlier, functions of the call center and NOC must be integrated. The lines must be eliminated. Additionally, the Operations Center will be built around 4 A's: automation, analytics, augmented intelligence or artificial intelligence if you prefer, and agile operations. In order to manage the volume and variety of use cases served by the network, it must use automation everywhere possible and encourage self-service by users through portals. The cornerstone of efficient operations is data. It must be accessible and real-time. Traditional silos must be eliminated. As the networks handle more variety, volume of users and devices, the Operations Center will have to rely on AI to maintain network health and handle growth. Operations must be more responsive. Transitioning to a DevOps CDCI environment is the only way to reduce time to market for new services and maintain network health. So this looks like a major change. What do we get for all of this transformation? Well, service-oriented operations improves customer experience through better service status visibility. It reduces time to market for new products and new connections. Lowers operations costs through automation and analytics. Drives revenue growth through new high-value digital products. Leverages embedded network capability for new services. And provides better insights into how services perform with customers. So what can you do to get started? As always, the first thing to do is take stock of where you are right now. It's important to determine what has to be done to get there and how that can be accomplished. Transformation to service-oriented operations can be accomplished in steps, and the results are accretive. Some key things to look at include: what are the use cases in my service area? Who are my customers? A market assessment, if done before, needs to be reevaluated. If not, be sure to look at enterprise, public sector, and institutions in your market assessment. What new services does my potential customer base need? What are they planning for 5G, as an example? A product roadmap developed from this information is invaluable to making business and network decisions. Where is the relevant data for operations, both customer and service data? Is it in silos? Do you have siloed OSS and BSS systems? Are my front office, back office, and network operations processes capable? What are the workflows? What are the processes? Are they capable of dealing with the complicated digital services that are coming in the future? And what network infrastructure needs to change? How does network growth, network enhancement decisions, or how are those decisions driven by this evaluation? If you'd like to do a little more research on future operations, here are a couple of sources that might offer some more insight. TM Forum has done a lot of work on Operations Center of the Future. See the link there. And the ITIL, they have a service lifecycle management format that they've worked on in the past that is applicable to this. A lot of service-oriented operations and services lifecycle management concepts are based on these two pieces of work. So we have had some time to give you a high-level introduction to service-oriented broadband operations. Obviously, there's more to learn. I hope we at least provided some insight to how it might apply to your operation and how you might get started. As always, I would love to hear your questions and comments and insights. Normally, we'd have a chance to do that in person at the end of the session. However, I'd really appreciate hearing from you. Please feel free to reach out. You have my email and cell phone contact there. Please feel free. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great day.